day, today, each and every day, here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. Here's how you guys can take part in what we've got cooking this afternoon. You can give us a ring at 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-326-3663. The text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show. The YouTube channel is up. We appreciate that. We appreciate all of you guys. I was just talking to my boss about the YouTube channel today and how it is just kind of helping to foster a party atmosphere, man, here on the show.
You didn't tell them about the barbecue, did you?
I did not. But I don't know who I'm allowed to. It's not mine. I don't know. I'm like, when you know about an event going on, guys, and it's not yours, can you invite people or do you not? Like, I don't know how that works. I think you have my Sterling Smith and James on today. You guys can see it in the on the YouTube channel at the Fan Upstate on YouTube. Feeling great. One of my favorite shirts, Smith and James shirts, Smith and James jeans, rocking them out here on the show today. All right, here's what's coming up between the hours of 3 and 7 o'clock this afternoon. We had a chance. You may have remembered me yesterday saying, look, man, there's a chance we can nail something, land something that we were very hopeful of landing. It's something we've been working on the entire week, and we got it done. 6:45 p.m. yesterday, it came through. Jalen Slawson joined the show. We will be re-airing that at 3:30 and 5:20 p.m. this afternoon. We've got Brent Beaird, Heisman Trophy voter, here on the show. Coach Cal, there is an interesting recruiting pitch making the rounds from Coach John Calipari at Kentucky. And it's a rarely, you never get to sit in on the house of a blue chip recruit when the big time coach is there, except for this one instance where Coach Cal allowed it to be filmed because the recruit was doing a documentary of his recruiting process. So I want to ask you guys, coming up at 3:40 p.m. today, would this recruiting pitch work on you? We've got the Upstate's favorite athlete bracket. We've got Heisman Trophy voter Brent Beaird. We've got the top 5 at 5. And we have you here on the most interactive sports radio show anywhere. Diesel to my left. Odie and his plums sitting right in front of me. Hope they're doing okay. No flicks over the last 24 to 48 hours, sir. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, I've been flick-free for the last 24 hours.
Let's thank God for that. Thank God for that. No flicks, thank God.
Got a business ahead of you, Odie's Plums.
That's it.
Is that going to be a thing? Is that how I'm going to be known? Or people can come up in the street and say, Odie, how's plums?
So Odie, I want to share this with you.
At least they care.
I do like a weekly email with my boss, you know, every week at Friday. Like on Friday, he wants to know like the different things that I've observed this week, the different things that have been going on. So every week I have a weekly glance and I send it over to my boss. And the number 2 item on that was you.
Oh.
And I said, Odie's freaking fantastic, man.
Oh,
I love this dude. He gets it. He's got a good attitude. He's really funny. He's good on the air. He's Irish AF, but we love him anyway.
Yeah, well,
you know?
DC.
Yeah.
What?
We love him anyway. So we appreciate that, man. Just wanted you to know I put in the good word with the honcho for you today.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
You got it indeed, man. So all is good and all is well in the world, and I want to open today with this. A very open and honest question for you. Diesel, let's put this on the poll if we can to get us started out today. Also, if I may, I do want to just pay attention to one quick thing that we're doing here via Twitter here in the early going. We are highlighting, folks, the top 10 players in the Upstate here in 2023. The top 10 high school football players in the Upstate. We're counting down one a day. I wanted to let you guys know about it because high school football is huge here. It is massive, right? And I I wanted to do our part. Want to give a big thank you and an assist to Rob Jones for compiling the top 10 list. And we are announcing one a day. Number 10 was Mike McClellan, DB and wide receiver. Just call him the Shohei Ohtani of football in the upstate. The Iron Man of JL Man. He was number 10. Number 9 on the list was Cutter Woods, the QB from Westside. Yesterday was number 8, and it was wide receiver from Hillcrest, Avery McFadden. And today, and this is about, the most impressive thing I think I've ever seen, running back from Broome, Jalen McGill. Check this out, Diesel. As a freshman, a Max Preps All-American.
Wow.
Over 1,000 yards rushing on varsity. Over 20 touchdowns offered by Virginia Tech.
So you're telling me there's a chance he's going to be good?
Yeah, okay. Wow. In the today's piece of news, it makes me feel like a total failure award. It's Jalen McGill. Jalen McGill, congratulations on that, my friend.
After we're done with 7. This,
yeah,
we need to set up an all-name team for high school athletes, because I'm pretty sure Cutter Woods would be number 1 on the all-name team in the upstate.
That's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic, and I completely and totally agree. So anyway, folks, let's open with this. We'll put it on the poll. We'll kick it around with you guys back and forth. And here is my question to you. And I'm looking for the person that can make the best argument one way or another. We will also open it up to the phone lines, okay? 844-FAN phone. And we'll obviously open it on the text line. We'll open it up on the YouTube page and all of the above. So here it is. Who is more of an upstate team? Is it the Atlanta Braves or the Carolina Panthers? Who is more of an upstate team?
I'm glad you didn't throw the Atlanta Hawks in there, because they would get exactly 0.0% of the vote.
No, less than 0. Yeah, man. Diesel, I'm not even throwing the Atlanta Falcons in there, right? So, it's the whole training camp at Wofford forever. The Richardson family, they're tied to the community, right? It has lost something, the connection between South Carolina and the Carolina Panthers, since Dave Tepper took over, right? There's no doubt about it. There's something that's been lost there. I can't put a finger on exactly what or why. I know they were trying to move the training camp to Rock Hill, but then Dave Tepper got in a fight with the Rock Hill folks, and then halfway built, the whole thing got shut down. So they're back still at Spartanburg. That, obviously, as you might imagine, doesn't really endear the Carolina Panthers to the folks at Wofford and Spartanburg, because everyone knows they're trying to leave. So they come crawling back after they tried to leave. When you have ever had somebody crawl back to you, you give them the eye roll, right? It's like, no, you wanted to leave me. Now you're coming crawling back. Now you give them the eye roll. And is Spartanburg going to take them back? Is Wofford going to take them back? Of course they are. It's an NFL team. But at the same point, Wofford and Spartanburg have rolled out the red carpet for the Carolina Panthers for years. And Diesel, that doesn't help. That doesn't help community relations. It doesn't help anything.
Yeah, it's exactly what happened with Charlotte Motor Speedway, the way that the family that owns that team, or that owns that racetrack, would every year take more and more and more traditional camping space away from the average Joes buying spots, pitching a tent, throwing up a grill. They would take that away. They would add more and more space for big RVs, multi-million-dollar vehicles. And, you start screwing people over a little bit at a time. They will never forgive you. They will never. That is one thing about Southerners. I don't know if you're aware of this, Mark, because you're from New York, that Southerners do not like, they do not like being taken advantage of. They don't like being screwed over. They give you one chance and one chance only. And after you screw them over, you're done.
I'll have you know, Afro Beard, that I am halfway to becoming an upstate local by vote of the Peaky Blinders, known as the Offsiders. That's right. That's what they say. So
not yet. You're halfway there. You're still years away.
And I'm living on a prayer. But they said after 10 years of being here, you get to say that you're from here. All right. So I am in year 5. At the conclusion of year 10, I am going to dance on your Afro Beaird grave.
Take my hand and we'll make it, I swear.
It's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely, positively freaking fantastic. Okay, so Atlanta Braves or the Carolina Panthers. All right, Atlanta Braves or Carolina Panthers, which is more of an upstate team and why? Now, you've got the fact that the Carolina Panthers have included you in their name, right? It's not the North Carolina. I've heard Matt Rule say this. I've got the clip somewhere. It's not the North Carolina Panthers. It's the Carolina Panthers. That means it's the North and South Carolina Panthers. You don't need me to tell you that the logo of the Carolina Panthers are the 2 states of North and South Carolina put together, right? You also don't need me to tell you that, Diesel, the one thing I said when I instituted the rules of sports fandom that you hate, if you accept all teams from an area or you get none of them, the one that everyone was so ticked off at was I said, look, you don't get to claim the Panthers and also the Atlanta Braves. You don't get to shun the Atlanta Falcons. You get the Atlanta Hawks, the Atlanta Falcons, the Atlanta Braves, or you don't get the Braves. And that was the thing that really, really, really pissed everybody off. And they said, well, Mark Ryan, I didn't grow up with a baseball team here. What did you want me to do? Pick all the teams from a city or get none of the teams from a city? Them's the rules. Still, we have some dissenters, Diesel. At least 1% of the population is not falling in line with the Mark Ryan rules of sports fandom. And there's still a ton of people out there that are claiming the Atlanta Braves despite this fact. I always say there is a very close relationship, a special relationship between a city and its baseball team, between a region and its baseball team. So what do you think?
Well, isn't telling you to cram it the most offsides thing they could do?
I think so.
So the weird thing, Mark, though, is you look at the Carolina Panther logo. We've got one over your head. Whoever designed this thing didn't have a map because the head is the shape of the state of South Carolina. The shoulders are the shape of North Carolina. So they got South Carolina on top of North Carolina. I understand what they were trying to do, and I appreciate the effort. But that's the OG logo. There's another one over your left shoulder over here. That's a new logo. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
That doesn't count because that's clearly taken straight off the map. But the Panther head logo, they've got North and South Carolina flipped.
They do. They might. Diesel, by the way, has been sending out mass emails to all the teams in our area, trying to get them to outfit our studio. And Diesel, I might have another one. You know, depending on how this goes today, how about the Atlanta Braves?
Love it.
Depending on how this goes today, why wouldn't we have something Atlanta Braves in the studio today?
Well, here's the true news, Mark, is we've got a South Carolina Gamecock flag in my office right over there. I was waiting to put it up because, you know, you want to design everything all together all at once. You don't want to be moving things. You don't want it to go somewhere. Somebody likes it, then you move it later and they hate you for it. They throw pointy objects at you. But look, Clemson is dragging their feet on sending us stuff. They've claimed that they're going to do it. I've reached out twice. They've said, don't worry, stuff is on the way. But that's been weeks. Clemson, come on. Come on. The school that hates our guts sent us stuff, and they got it here in like 4 days. You were right down the road. Help us out.
Yeah, and you know what, man? It's interesting and it's fascinating. You know, the fact that South Carolina sent us stuff, I don't know, Diesel, does that count as an olive branch? You know as well as I do that this show and South Carolina, let's just say we have not been sitting around the campfire singing Kumbaya over the years. So for them to send us gear for the studio by request of the Peaky Blinder known as Diesel, is an olive branch of sorts, I would say.
And it's not like they don't know who it's going to. I said, I am Diesel, producer of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel on the Fan Upstate. I was being very clear as to where it was going. They're not stupid. They know who we are.
They sent it to us anyway. And so we are obliged to put that up. If you are on the YouTube page right now, you might see some spaces below the Furman scarves that are on the wall. And those spaces are targeted for Clemson and South Carolina right now. but we need Clemson to come through with the delivery, and I think they will. I think they will.
If they don't come through, I'm pretty sure that we could find an offsider with a spare flag that they might be able to bring by the studio. What do you think?
Like I absolutely do, and I was thinking the same thing, Diesel. But you guys see these flags back here? We got the Greenville Triumph, we've got the Greenville Liberty, we've got the Furman Paladins beneath them, right? And we've got open spaces for flags beneath those. They're targeted. Clemson and South Carolina is supposed to be down there as well. Why not the Atlanta Braves? We've got the Carolina Panthers up there. Depending on how today's independent research shows out, then, it may be that the Braves are a priority here on the show. So what do you guys think? And what is your reasoning? More of an upstate team. Is it the Atlanta Braves or is it the Carolina Panthers? We want to know what y'all thinking. Tell me what's on your mind. 71307 is where you can get to us on the show. Diesel, I'm going to go Carolina Panthers. And I'm going to go Carolina Panthers for the aforementioned reasons that it's the two states combined, that they have included us in their name. And the Atlanta Braves, I want, what is the song? I want you to want me. I want my team to need me, right? The Atlanta Braves don't need anybody here. The Atlanta Braves aren't being helped by anybody here.
They can pack their stadium just with the state of Georgia. They don't need us.
They don't need anybody here.
And they took a team away from us. Never forget that. Greenvillians, upstaters, never forget that we had a AA affiliate of the Braves, the Greenville Braves, and they took the team away because the city would not build them a brand new stadium. They wanted your money to fund a new stadium. Shocker, who's surprised that now twice the city of Greenville has said, hell no, we won't fund a new stadium. And they've lost a team one of those times. So you lost the team. The Braves took them away from you. That should rub you the wrong way. That should be like sand in your swim shorts.
It should. And, Diesel, I'm not even sure that I know the nitty gritty, nor that do I feel like I know all of the intimate details of that divorce. Other than that, it was fugly. The area lost the Braves. People like me who have grown up hating the Red Sox have had a really difficult time wrapping my arms around the Greenville Drive because of the affiliation with that godforsaken franchise. And it would have been much better if the AA Atlanta Braves, the Greenville Braves, were still here. That would have been, in my opinion, I would have preferred that. Now, the best case scenario would have been if the Greenville Braves were playing at Fluor Field without the mini green monster, but that would have been the all-time, because Fluor Field is incredible. It's awesome, right? But let's realize the topic at hand here is more of an upstate team. Now, I don't dispute that the Braves are more popular here than the Carolina Panthers. That is, my friends, not the question. It is who is more of an upstate team. And again, I believe that it's important for your team to need you. The Carolina Panthers need you. I have a hard time rooting for teams that don't need my support, don't care about my support. They could give a rip if I support them or not. Does that not bother you, Braves fans? That, like, the Braves don't give a rip whether you're rooting for their team or not? That they don't need you in any way, shape, or form, right? That you are the one receiving the gift, not providing the gift to the team? You go to a Carolina Panthers game, they're telling you they need you. And I don't know, man. I mean, that counts for something for me. Now, admittedly, Diesel, I've been to Atlanta Braves games. I've been to one Carolina Panthers game in my existence. What games do you have more fun at? You've been to both.
Let's see. I've been to two Braves games. I've been to one Panther game. I think Braves games are a lot more fun to be at. Granted, I went to a Panther game early last season in the Baker Mayfield era. I went to the game where fans were literally booing and walking out of the stadium in the third quarter. So I went to one of the worst experiences I possibly could. The first Braves game I ever went to, it was 4 years ago. 20 games left. All they needed to do was win one. to make the playoffs. 1, and they're in the playoffs. And they lost 20 in a row to finish the season and missed the playoffs.
Oy.
And I went to one of those 20 losses.
Oy.
I want to say it was the Baltimore Orioles. Who loses to the Orioles?
Oy. Brutal.
Mm.
Yeah, no, who loses to the Orioles? So, so Diesel, what is your answer? Who is more a part of the upstate? Which team is more of an upstate team?
I think the answer is the Atlanta Braves.
Really?
Yeah, I think the Atlanta Braves have more cachet here than the Carolina Panthers do. I think the Teppers have ruined so much of the goodwill that the upstate has. Look, I would say if you just had to isolate the Panthers and Falcons fans in the upstate, I think it's probably 70-30 Panthers fans, but that's 30% of the upstate going with the Falcons. So the Panthers do not really own this market at all.
Yeah, when we ask, Diesel, you tell me what the number is. If we've asked the upstate, are the Panthers your favorite NFL team? And the research we get back is about 40% of the upstate says the Panthers are their favorite team. We haven't done that question. Maybe we should for the Atlanta Braves. Are the Atlanta Braves your favorite baseball team? Mm-hmm. What do you think the answer would be? What percentage would say the Braves are their favorite team?
75.
75. So 75% say the Braves are their favorite baseball team. Only 40% say the Panthers are their favorite football team. But the Panthers have done far more community outreach than the Braves have here, far more than the Charlotte Stinking Hornets have. And so let's also bring in Odie here as well. Odie, and I value this opinion, Diesel, because Odie is not your hardcore sports fan. At best, he is a casual sports fan. I've been here 4.5 years. I want to say Odie's been here 6 years.
Yep.
Odie, which is more of an upstate team, in your opinion? I say the Carolina Panthers. Diesel says the Atlanta Braves. What say you?
I'm going to go with the Braves. I'm going to
Really?
go. Yeah, I've been to one game of each. I've been to one Braves game, one Panthers game. Kind of fell asleep at the Panthers game.
That's what Diesel's vibe
Yeah.
was. Why?
Well, the Braves game, no, it's probably the game that it was. It was 2019. It was the first game against the Stingrays. And
The Stingrays?
Yeah, first. Is it the Stingrays? I think it's no.
The Stingrays. Used to be the Devil Rays. Now it's just the Rays.
It's the Rays.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Stingrays.
But the first 2 pitches, they knocked the ball clean out of the park. Like they were home runs. The very first 2 pitches, and that was the Braves that they got 2 home runs, and the place exploded. Like fireworks going off everywhere. All these big chants that were happening, the chants that we're not allowed to say anymore. You know, it was great. It was all the good stuff. And I went then to watch the Panthers. I can't even remember who they were playing, but for me, the game. It didn't keep my interest. It didn't keep my attention.
Did they win?
Probably. I don't know. I don't think I'll be getting endorsed by the Panthers at any stage.
No. But it's funny because Diesel had a very similar experience at going to the Panthers games. Like he was like, man, it was like all 49ers fans, and the atmosphere was just kind of dead.
Yeah,
and
it was.
And it's dead, and it's corporate, and the NFL. You know, when you chase dollar signs in terms of seating, what you miss, what you lose is the raucous atmosphere that you get in college, right?
Yep.
And, if I'm an NFL team, man, I'm willing to forego some dollars to get the raucous atmosphere. I want a college atmosphere at my NFL games.
Yes.
And the Carolina Panthers clearly don't have that.
No, they don't. But I noticed that the NFL isn't as big down here in the South as the college football is.
That's true.
So maybe that has something to do with it.
It's still number 2. I mean, it's still number 2. However, it's well behind college football here in the upstate. All right, guys, your reasoning. All right, special recognition for the person that sends in the best reasoning. Which is more of an upstate team? Is it the Atlanta Braves or is it the Carolina Panthers? And we, my friends, have a very, very special segment for you next. We'll tell it all. We'll give you the 411 on that when we come back. Right here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark, Ron, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate.
my computer mouse, and I realize, guys, I know you're going to tell me we're still on the stream. I know my computer mouse is moving at a glacial pace, so I can try to move it somewhere. I think it's going to the right place, and then 2 seconds later, it wakes up, and it is gone. So we'll be right back.
It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Mad Craft with an interesting hypothetical. Mark, what if you were an Oakland A's or Oakland Raiders fan and they moved to Vegas? Would you still not be able to be an A's fan? Or like San Diego and the Chargers? You know, we didn't factor those in, Madcraft, to the rules of sports fandom, but the arbiter of sports fandom that I am known to have a heart. So should that happen to you, should I be confronted with a Oakland A's fan, if there's still any of those out there, worst team I've ever seen, I would deal with them with empathy. We will see. We will see. All right, my friends. So this was awesome. All right, this was awesome, and it was really cool, and it's honestly the first time this has ever happened in my career. And it is that Jalen Slawson of the Furman Paladins was drafted into the NBA. Okay, there's only 2 rounds in the NBA draft, and Jalen Slawson, the SoCon Player of the Year, the person principally responsible for beating Virginia. Apologies to JP Pagis, who hit the final shot. And I'll tell you what, man. Jalen Slawson, we made some phone calls. We were able to link up with him in Sacramento, California, where he's getting ready to participate in the Las Vegas Summer League. Their first game in the Las Vegas Summer League is a week from today, the 7th. All right, so we had a chance to link up with Jalen Slawson. It is a short interview, but we thought you'd love to hear it nonetheless. I know the upstate Furman fans, very, very incredibly proud of what Jalen Slawson has accomplished. Here is our sit-down with the SoCon Player of the Year and newest Sacramento King, Jalen Slawson. The most recent NBA draftee from the upstate, the SoCon Player of the Year, number 54 pick to the Sacramento Kings, getting ready for Summer League basketball. Your star, Jalen Slawson, joins us here on Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel, the fan upstate. Jalen, congratulations. Living the good life, living your best life. How does it feel?
It feels good.
You got
still a little bit of a whirlwind. Still a little bit surreal. So
he is.
I had our first practice earlier today. Just getting ready to get after it again here at 5.
You know, Jalen. That's so you practice again. You have 2 practices in the same day.
Yes, sir.
That's crazy, man. Wow. So, Jalen, like when you're getting ready for that, right? It's your first ever NBA practice. You just had it. You just finished it. We thank you so much for squeezing us in amidst all of that. What is that like when you step on the court? You mentioned the word surreal, right? Is it, oh my God, this is so much faster? Like, can you bring us through that experience for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot faster. They expect you to pick up on concepts a lot faster. A lot more people in the facility. Like, there's probably about 100 people in the facility. Yeah, the competition's a lot better, obviously. People are a lot longer. Like if you mess something up, you got like one chance to mess it up. Like if you don't fix it the next time, then your group's probably off, and like people are looking at you funny. So it's not like college where coaches will be patient with you and take their time with you. Nobody here is gonna yell at you, cuss at you, scream at you, but it's like, all right, like you don't have it, like next group up, like see if you can watch it and figure it out from somebody else.
Now, Jalen, I know you haven't had a ton of time to do this yet, and maybe these conversations will come over the next few weeks. But what has your communication been like with Bob Ritchie, with your partner in crime, Mike Bothwell? I'm sure you guys have at least texted back and forth. What's that been like over the last few days?
We still talk every day. Richie calls me every day. Me and Michael text every day for sure. But me and Mike and I just got off FaceTime a little while ago. So, we're still gonna talk heavily, I promise.
Jalen Slawson, the SoCon Player of the Year, newest Sacramento King, joining us here on Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel, the fan upstate. Jalen, can you bring me to the moment on draft night when your name was called? You had everyone around. How does that work, Jalen? Because it's like, man, that would be so uncomfortable to have everyone there, and then maybe someone doesn't get picked. We've seen that happen a number of times. When did you find out you were going to Sacramento? Can you bring us through what that experience was like?
I found out like 45 seconds before he came across TV. My agent texted me. Obviously, it was getting late in the draft, so like those thoughts were starting to go through my head. But yeah, my agent texted me, and he was like, "Get in front of the TV." Like, so I like ran back through. I was trying to keep myself moving all night, so I wasn't just sitting there thinking about it. So I ran back inside and sat down. And once I ran back inside and sat down, everybody kind of knew it was coming. So everybody got ready. But once I saw my name come across, it was surreal. I was kind of like stunned. I didn't move. We're just kind of like trying to take it all in. And so I really hope that Monty wasn't like, you know, like, do you not want to be here? Because I, you know, super excited to be here. But yeah, everybody else was like yelling and screaming and going crazy. And I was just kind of sitting there stuck because like it was just this whole rush of emotions that came across me.
Jalen, what has impressed you? Again, I know you've only been in the building for a few hours at this point. What has impressed you thus far about the Kings organization and how they do what they do?
You know, first and foremost, I would say the hospitality. And second of all, I would say the professionalism. You know, like as far as the hospitality, like at the end of the day, this is a business. It's a little bit different from college. And everybody says like, you know, this business is, it's a business first. You know, I'm sure I'll probably see that at some point throughout this year. But as of right now, I just feel like everybody's welcoming me. You know, anything that I've needed has been taken care of, from, you know, something with housing to just having a conversation with any of the vets, you know, like Beaird, who's a $160 million player, like pulls up a chair and sits down beside me at breakfast the other day and asks me, you know, if I need anything, what questions I have, yada, yada, yada. So definitely been feeling that. And then, you know, our facilities are beautiful. Facilities are really nice. Sorry, this is one of our assistant coaches that just came up to us from, nah, you good, Jordy. So, you know, but, you know, the energy is great around here. If you can't tell, everybody is big family atmosphere. So
What did you ask De'Aaron when he said, do you have any questions for me? What was your question for De'Aaron?
You know, just how to handle this rookie year, how to make the most out of this rookie year. And he responded with, you know, take everybody's advice and just listen, try to soak it all in, go with the ups. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, but the better I can handle the down, the quicker I'm going to get back to the ups and give me a better chance to be on the floor.
Jalen, is there a moment you're looking forward to, or do you think it'll just hit you out of the blue that you'll feel like you're now in the NBA?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not looking forward to anything because I don't want to miss the process. You know, obviously I really enjoy this I'm really enjoying this process, being here, being with the guys. So I don't want to miss a second of it, but we'll see.
Jalen, how do you see yourself fitting into this particular team? They have a couple of all-stars. Neither one plays your position. I happen to think you could. I really do think, Jalen, you're going to make it. I think you got an NBA skill set. I thought you were the best player on the floor against Virginia, and I think you're going to be a draft steal. But my question is, how do you see yourself fitting into this team?
You know, right now, just being a connector on offense, being somebody who moves the ball, being a multi-positional defender, you know, just being a winner, bringing good energy, somebody who makes winning plays night in and night out, somebody who makes energy plays night in and night out, and just doing all the little things.
Now, Jalen, in the last segment, as we found out that we were going to be able to bring you on the show, we were reading through your draft grade and what the experts had to say about you, and they had a lot of really nice things to say about you. Do you read your press clippings? Have you ever been the kind of guy that reads your own press clippings, and do you let that motivate you, or do you shut it out?
Nah, I don't pay too much attention to it because you can sit on there and you can find good things and wind up being a fat pig, or you can sit on there and be down on yourself because everybody says you're not good enough to make it. So, you know, I just kind of tune it out and just keep working, do what I'm supposed to do, handle my business.
Jalen, is the fact that you don't change colors at all throwing you? Like, I was just thinking about that. Are you feeling like you're still at Furman when you see the uniform, or is that a comfort to you, man?
No, I like it. I like purple. So I do not have a problem staying in purple at all.
Jalen, is there a particular road trip that you're excited about, even if you don't know what's on your schedule per se next season? Is there a location that you've always wanted to see, that's always been on a bucket list, that you're going to be, geeked out of your mind the first time you get to go play in that arena?
Nah, nah, I'm not. I got a roster to make right now. I'm not really worried about any particular games right now. I got a roster to make. Try to be a Sacramento King night one instead of a Stockton King night one.
Jalen Slawson, Sacramento King, joining us here on the show. Okay, Jalen, we thank you so much for the time, man. We're super excited for you. We want to let you know how proud of you we are, man. We're going to be watching. We're going to be rooting you on, and we can't wait to see big things from you. You made everyone here proud.
Thanks.
The words of one Jalen Slawson joined us on the show yesterday, man, and was awesome to connect with him in Sacramento, CA. And I think he's got a great chance to make the roster. I was talking to some folks inside Furman men's basketball. They think he's got an outstanding chance to make the roster.
Madcraft, a big fan. He says, I loved when he said, nah, I've got a roster to make. He said that blew him away. And that's great. He's a guy that knows the task in front of him. And it is hard for anybody being drafted in the second round to make a team. You are not guaranteed a spot just because you were drafted. I think he has a really good shot based solely on his physical skills. And what you said yesterday, the Sacramento Kings really has a good chance to make this roster, but nothing is guaranteed. He knows that he has to work his ass off to make this roster.
There you go. All right. Folks, coming up next, we have a winner to announce in our Upstate's favorite athlete bracket. That is on the flip side here on the show that gives you both sides. It's Offsides, Mark, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Tremendous to have you guys with us. Depending on your persuasion, which way is this?
That's your right.
Okay. This thing behind me right here is the newest edition that you're seeing on our YouTube stream, the Fan Upstate on YouTube. We've got gear from the South Carolina Gamecocks in our background, now on our wall. We also have a hurl, Odie, is that right?
Yeah.
A hurl from Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
And Odie has had one of those broken over his knee, Bo Jackson style.
That is a weapon of war.
Across my shin.
It is. I don't know if we should have that in the studio, Odie, for when Diesel and I get mad at each other.
Broadside or sharp side?
Oh, sharp side.
Oh, no.
And
No,
you
no,
see
no,
here, my friends, that there is a very clear and open space over yonder. Okay, over yonder. There's a very clear and open space right here under my right shoulder, and we are awaiting gear from Clemson, a flag from Clemson, to go right under there. That would, in effect, largely complete the wall.
And hey, if you're a Clemson fan and you would like to fill the space for us, if you want to fill our gaps, bring us a Clemson flag. If Clemson University ever comes through, we can give it back to you. We just want to borrow it for a little while.
Family show, ladies and
No, it's
gentlemen.
not.
Family show.
No, it's never been a family show, and you know that.
All right, guys. So we've got an announcement to make. And, oh, by the way, on the which is more of an upstate team topic, we've had the delightful Tiger pal Rachel chime in on that very topic today. And Tiger pal Rachel sides with me. Tiger pal Rachel says, for me personally, the Carolina Panthers, are more of an upstate team than the Atlanta Braves. However, the Braves have been an upstate team for a very, very long time. I do agree with Diesel. I hate that the Greenville Braves left and that they were replaced with the Red Sox. That is something that many in the area have just never fully recovered from, right? Never fully recovered from. Okay, my friends. So yesterday we had a very spirited matchup. I looked at the Facebook, and there were a ton of votes that were coming in on Facebook. We looked at Twitter, the same. We looked at the text line. Very, very, very good response. And a lot of folks said, man, this is a tough one. Both athletes are in fact beloved. Josh Norman, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson on the back nine in their respective careers, right? Certainly on the back nine, but neither has officially retired yet. We are happy to share, however, that the winner of the 2-7 matchup between Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Josh Norman is, drum roll please. Just kidding. Odie looked temporarily panicked. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson has won. And he has moved on where he will take on David Pearson in the round of 16. We are going to reveal our matchup for today for you coming up at in the 420 segment when we get done with Brent Beaird. We've got a doozy for you today. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Josh Norman got a lot of votes, but Stephen Wonderboy Thompson got a lot of votes. It was even more than what Josh Norman put forward. So Stephen Wonderboy Thompson moves on. I don't get the sense that MMA is huge here in the upstate. I just don't. But Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's popularity is. And I think a main reason why we're here in the upstate, we value character. And he's just the coolest, nicest dude that you could possibly have. When we've had him on the show, he'll text me for a while after the show. And I'm like, man, this guy is texting me like he's a regular Joe, and he's awesome. And we appreciate the heck out of him for that. Congratulations, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. You advance to the Sweet 16 of the Upstate's favorite athlete bracket. All right, my friends. Coming up next, we're going to be joined by our guy, Brent Beaird, Heisman Trophy voter. So much to tackle with him in terms of college football. We'll do so next, right here on Offsides. We are the Fan Upstate. He is a Heisman Trophy voter. As well known and beloved as he is even better looking. He is on television in Jacksonville, as well as voting in the Heisman Trophy. And our dapper friend Brent Beaird joins us right now on the show. The ladies are fawning. Brent, how are you today, sir?
Well, if my internet would come back on, I'd be much better. But we played hurt before, and we can do it again.
There you go. Okay, so Brent, I was looking at your Learfield Cup standings, which is the all sports standings in terms of college athletics.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, Brent, what I have never understood, okay, as 8 SEC teams made it and 6 ACC teams made it, I have never understood, Brent, why this is a footnote and not a much bigger deal. Why do you think that is? Like, why isn't this the grand poobah in college sports?
That's a really good question, Mark. Do they give it enough? I mean, every conference is involved with this. Every school is involved with this. I think that's a good question of why is it not? Now, I think Florida being the best SEC school, they finished 5th. Tennessee 6th, Georgia 7th, LSU 9th. I won't go into all of them, but and I think I just wonder, Mark, is another reason that it comes out almost close to July the 4th? I mean, do they not think that people are interested in this? I mean, I think it gives you, it's not the be and all, but it gives you some indication of where your sports are. And I don't want to make this a Florida centric segment, but I mean, what I appreciate is that, that Florida do well in basketball or football. Well, frankly, they didn't. But look, when you're 5th in the all sports, that deserves some shouting from the mountaintop, does it not? And with these other schools too.
Now, Brent, I don't get the sense that it's weighted. Is it like does football count for by far the most, or does football count for as much as lacrosse does?
No, I don't believe it is either. I mean, I think this is pretty much now they've got a point system that goes along with it. But again, now is this fair or not? And this is something that I've always wondered. Stanford wins, and I know people joke about this, but there's some truth about it. I mean, Stanford got 3 national titles in men's gymnastics, women's rowing, and women's water polo. Now, admittedly, most schools don't have those 3 sports. So the question would be, I mean, how fair is that saying that Stanford won? I mean, having so many sports has carried them for years, and it continues to do that.
Well, Brent, speaking of, increasing or decreasing the number of sports, this news broke in the last 24 hours or so. The NCAA considering new requirements to stay FBS, and the word stay there is what's really intriguing to me. The rules are that you have to sponsor at least 16 sports. You have to award at least 210 scholarships reaching $6 million in value, so you can't give 10% scholarships to a 3-person team. Reclassifying institutions would have to pay a $5 million entrance fee to move up into FBS, and some additional specific training requirements regarding the health and safety for coaches. What is this designed to do, Brent? Is this designed to kick the lowest end, the bottom 10% of FBS out of the division, or is it just designed to make more money?
I think it's both. Frankly, Diesel, now they'll never admit that, but is this further separating the have and the have-nots? And there's no question that it has something to do with making more money. But that is, and people hadn't heard that. That just basically, as you said, came out. So no, I would. I think it's both. We won't get any comment on that, frankly, at all. But that's where it's going.
Which of the additions in the Big 12, Cincinnati, Central Florida, Houston, and BYU, are going to be the best immediately, Brent, and which is going to be the best long term?
Well, I would say probably. I mean, I do like the Cincinnati edition, particularly with the success that they have had. But I also like the Houston situation too. I'm gonna say Houston long term and Cincinnati short term. And the reason I say that is I think Houston can probably sustain it, but can Cincinnati sustain it over what? And obviously Luke Fickell was there for a while and had some real success. But would he be able to sustain? I don't think I'm glad Central Florida made the move for them. I think that's good for them, and also BYU is in there too. And if people haven't heard this, BYU being in the conference, BYU is an independent. I won't go too deep into this, but I don't know if we've ever heard this before. BYU going into the Big 12 will be the sixth different league that they've been a member of in football. And from 2011 to 22, they played as an independent with all of its Olympic sports in the Western Coast Conference. So there's some very interesting things. And again, we bring this up because tomorrow is July 1st, and this is when these new additions go into effect.
Brent, you have to feel like San Diego State feels like a worm on a hook dangling now that they've made their intentions known. Do you think they have some sort of assurances from the Pac-12 of anything, or are they really just sitting out there by themselves, holding a bag, wondering where did everybody go?
Well, I hope the Pac-12 has told them something. I mean, they may have just said, look, hang on, and we'll get back to you. That doesn't do you a whole lot of good. And especially, and what I hope doesn't happen is they end up without a home, at least temporarily. So I mean, they're hanging on for a reason, aren't they, Diesel? I've got to believe, and again, that they're not going to make it public, but necessarily, but surely they've been given some kind of assurances that something's going to happen, or they wouldn't have just kind of made the announcement, well, guys, we're leaving, and we kind of hope this works out. So, I mean, that's a really odd situation in some ways, and are they the backup plan? I mean, that could be that too. So there's still just a lot behind the scenes here that is fascinating and terrifying at the same time for these schools.
Brent Beaird, Heisman Trophy voter, First Coast News in Jacksonville, on Twitter at Brent, Beaird, joining us here on the show. Brent, South Carolina continues its upward trajectory in 2023 if they do what? And Clemson makes it back to the playoff in 2023 if what happens?
I would say, for Clemson, I mean, the obvious answer is, will the offense be better? And I think it will, with the upgrades at quarterback and with the additions and changes with the offensive coordinator situation. My thing with South Carolina, it's two things. Do they have enough weapons on the outside? A, and then B, do they will they be better defensively? And I still think there are several teams in the league that have got to be better defensively. I think South Carolina is one. I think Tennessee is the other. And another one is Ole Miss. that's gotten 14 transfers just on the defensive side of the ball. But I will say, in keeping up with this, that there is still, I know Saturday Down South had a nice article on South Carolina this week. Our friend Matt Hayes did a really good job on really detailing why South Carolina is on the uptick and where they're going, and some of the interesting stories about guys on their own wanting to stay late and practice and work out with each other and so forth, and about the attitude. I mean, look, that's probably your typical story you're going to see this time this year, that everybody's excited, everybody's going to be winning and so forth. But I do believe there's something to that. And if your listeners have not seen that yet, I invite them to do so.
Brent, put on your prediction pants for me for just a second. Is Ohio State really silly enough to fire Ryan Day if he loses to Michigan again?
No. They're just, look, I could be wrong, but I just don't think that's going to happen. I mean, that's fun to talk about during the summer and speculate. But look, if you're going to do that, and you've got I know they've struggled, and I get it, but you just cannot fire a guy with what he's done with that record this early and be able to. I think that would hurt them in a lot of ways. I mean, he's 45-6 at Ohio State. I just don't think I don't think that's going to happen. I think that would really, I think it would hurt their program.
Brent Beaird joining us here on the show. So, Brent, I am on a text chain with some of my buds from the University of Florida, and anytime there's a Florida event, the text chain starts buzzing again.
Yeah.
And as you know, you were updating me on the College World Series and on the Super Regionals, and we shared some text back and forth, buddy. And so Florida loses to LSU. And I said this before the series was played, Brent. I said, I would rather beat LSU in football in the regular season than win the College Baseball World Series over LSU. And a couple of my friends, Brent, for a few minutes, I didn't know if we were going to be friends anymore. Like there was name calling, and you this is moronic, and like somebody needs to take your microphone away and all this stuff. But Brent, in our field, with what you do and what I do, okay, we understand that college football, with a possible exception of the Final Four, is the only nationally relevant sports, right? It's nationally relevant. So for me, I mean, what do you make of that, Brent? I say that I'd rather have a win over LSU in the regular season than a College World Series win over them for a national championship in baseball. Have I lost my gourd like my friends suggest?
No. I think that's and I think probably, I'm curious if you ask those same guys that same question and after SEC media days, if you get a different answer, I think that, look, there's no denying that Kevin O'Sullivan's done a tremendous job with that baseball team. And frankly, Mark, if as we were texting, if they'd won game one, I think they'd won the whole thing, but they just couldn't hit the 8th and 9th inning. So no, I get that. I understand that. And I think they were probably caught up in the moment. And I think most Gator fans would probably say the same thing. I don't know what the percentage would be. I think they love baseball and they appreciated what Sully has done. But at the same time, they're for the average fan, bragging rights in football supersedes anything else.
Brent, in your time as a Heisman voter, who would you say is the most deserving player who did not win the Heisman?
Probably Peyton when he got beat out by Woodson. there are a lot of people that yelled and screamed about SEC bias during that time. I could have seen that as a possibility. And McCaffrey at Stanford, when he had a real shot. I think at that point, some people would have thought that he would have won over Derrick Henry. But the point of that was probably the reason he didn't was because so many of Stanford's games were on late and people just didn't see them. So I would say off the top of my head, those are when Heisman guys get together, those are a couple ones we talk about.
Brent, give me, if you would be so kind, sir, a sleeper team in the ACC and the SEC where, if the chips fall a certain way, this sleeper team could find themselves playing in the conference championship game.
I would probably say Texas A&M.
Wow. In
the West. Listen, they're going to be a lot better than people think they are. Now people made fun, and I get it, of the Bobby Petrino situation there. But what I've also said on different segments is, okay, you make fun of that, but tell me what happens if it actually works. Because they've got a tremendous offense. People can look this up, but they've got maybe the best wide receiver room in the SEC, and that's saying a lot when you look at that. So I would say A&M in the West is. I'm not saying they're going to. I'm just saying that to answer your question. And I would say, look, if a lot went well, you'd have to get. The easy pick in the East would be Tennessee, but I am just maybe, and I hear some of the beat writers say differently, and I'm curious if you've heard that too, that they're going to be better defensively, and I just don't buy that yet. So, it's not going to be Florida. When you look at that, then if it's not Tennessee, who's it going to be? It's either going to be South Carolina or Kentucky. So which one of those? And they both got able quarterbacks. And to me, Kentucky's situation would be the offensive line that was abysmal last year. And Will Levis got beat up the whole year. So, and again, it goes back to what we said about South Carolina a few minutes ago. Do they have enough weapons on the outside stretch of field? And will their defense be better? So A&M and South Carolina / Kentucky. How about that?
So we also, Brent, have some Carolina fans in the audience here, North Carolina fans. If the ball bounces a certain way, does UNC have enough roster-wise to get by either Clemson or Florida State and make it into the title game?
I don't think so. Now, they've got, of course, their quarterback everybody would love to have, to say the least. And again, I know this is a broken record today, but the reality is their defense has got to improve tremendously. Now, I give them credit. They are third in Lindy's. So there are people who think that they will be better in that point too. So, but again, Derek Mays is going to be incredible. But how quickly can they rebuild their defense? And I know people don't like talk defense anymore, but I still say if you don't have it, you don't have a chance.
Brent Beaird joining us here on the show. Last one for you, buddy. Look, South Carolina, very excited about some. It looks to be potentially a huge recruiting month for the Gamecocks. Clemson has got some big key commitments, but no one has been on in fuego more than the Florida Gators. Can
Correct.
you speak to what is going on there? Like, how has there been this windfall of 8 prospects over the last 10 days, Brent? How does that come to pass? It seems like a lot of groupthink, a lot of momentum. I'm committing.
Yeah.
Will you as well? These guys are all tight. They're all close. They're all friends. Look, how does something like that, the windfall that took the Gators from 21st to 3rd, how does that happen?
Well, I think it's a multitude of things. I think the Armstrong, I almost said kid because he's 29, but the D coordinator, they love him, and they think he's going to do wonders for them. And I frankly agree with that. They've upgraded their facilities. And I think, and whether people believe this or not, and I do, that when Billy Napier gets in front of these guys, that he can be very impressive. I heard him in person. The media covered one of the Gator gatherings, and I'm just telling you, Mark, when you walk out of there, there's a little bit of, well, I could play for that guy type stuff. I mean, and he explained what happened last year, and people bought it. So now, look, they were a few days ago, they were number two in On3.com, and they were number 4 in Rivals. So, I mean, it truly is amazing what has happened. But I've compared them to the tortoise and the hare, and they're the tortoise. They're slow, they're plodding, but they have figured out some things, and they know what they're doing. So now again, I think we know they'll probably be fairly average this year, but there are a lot of people putting a lot of stock in this 2024 team that's coming up. And I know I've said this a few times, but it bears repeating. I do a podcast with Gator great Shane Matthews, and Shane's convinced they're going to be 8-4. That they will be better. Now, they've got some swing games again, Kentucky, South Carolina, Arkansas, but the message they're sending is reverberating very positively with these recruits.
Brent Beaird, Heisman Trophy voter, First Coast News, internet or no internet, he is still our hero. We appreciate you, buddy. Have a great weekend, all right?
Always enjoy, guys. Happy 4th to all of you, too.
Same to you, my
Thanks.
friend. Happy 4th to one Brent Beaird. Coming up next on the show, it is time, my friends. We've got a brand new Upstate's favorite athlete bracket matchup for you as in our attempt to crown the Upstate's favorite athlete, which we will do in mere weeks from right now. That's next. This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. The commercial conversation between yours truly, Diesel, and Odie, who's doing a fantastic job learning how to, he knows how to do it.
Relearning.
Relearning the board and all the good stuff we have, the Irishman himself. And, so folks, I've been on a little bit of a weight loss journey. Not that I ever had this massive problem, right? But a year ago, June, I got up to 220, which is the most I ever weighed, and I just don't have the frame for it. I look like a butterball turkey that was dying, right? So I went on this weight loss journey, and I've lost 22 pounds. I got 8 more to go, and it is the hardest thing to do because on the weekends, I want to cut loose just a wee bit, right? And then on Monday, the scale doesn't even give me a number. It just says WTF, right? Literally, it just
Try
says
harder. It says try harder.
Yeah, not trying hard enough.
Yeah, I didn't see that. So Odie was telling us this during the commercial break. Odie, you said your phone fat shamed you today?
Yes, it did. Yes.
How did that happen?
It told me it was giving me apps that I haven't used in quite a while, and Strava is one of them that records when you run, cycle, swim, do all that kind of stuff. And it said, Odie, you haven't done anything in 2 years. two whole years. Maybe I like being 245 pounds, even though I was 179 when I came to America.
Wow. Well, so that's plus 70.
That,
plus 66 pounds.
Yeah.
So you already do some voiceover work as a voiceover artist.
I sure do.
I'm sure there are times of the year where you are very popular. That maybe that's your next calling. Is everything sounds nicer. You can get some bad news, but if you hear it in an Irish accent, it just sounds sort of cheerful.
I have to call you. Your mother was after dying, but at the happy side, she left you a lot of money. You're a rich man.
Yeah, that is your niche, my friend. You leave cheerful messages and bad messages in a cheerful accent.
Yep.
So riddle me this, Odie. Is it like when you come to America from another country?
Mm-hmm.
Is it true that compared to any other country, our portions are just gargantuan?
Oh, man. I didn't know what leftovers were till I came to America.
Really?
Like this thing of, can I have a box? When you go to a store or you go to a food joint or a restaurant and you say you eat your food every time. And then it's like, oh, can I get a box? Or the waitress will come around and say, y'all want a box? I'm like, yep, we'll take it. That never happens. Irish people are afraid to ask for a box because they'll think we're greedy and we want to take the leftovers home. But it's a done thing here. And that's why I'm fat.
There you go.
See?
There you go. And folks, our portions are like 4 times the size of any other country. And I don't know why.
I have a term for walking out of a restaurant. When your stomach hurts, you've eaten so much. The word is uncomfortable.
That's right.
Uncomfortably full.
There
Uncomfortable.
There you go. All right, folks, it is time for the
just ashamed
favorite athlete bracket. Today's matchup is out of the MVP region. All right. And we've got some descriptions for you coming up. The winner of this matchup it's the 4-5 matchup. Very tight, very competitive. The winner is going to be taking on Kevin Garnett.
Ooh, good luck.
In the Sweet 16. I think the winner of this actually has a fighting shot. The matchup today, as soon as we announce it, you may begin voting. You can vote via the text line, which is the preferred method, at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go. So put in 71307 to your phone, okay? Text to that number. Have the first word of your text be fan, and then give us the name that you're voting for. Winner advances in the Upstate's favorite athlete bracket. All of these athletes are from the Upstate, were born in the Upstate, or played high school sports right here in the Upstate. Today's matchup, without further ado, my friends. Number 4 seed John McKissick against number 5 seed Stephen Davis. Now, before you say I've heard of Stephen Davis and I haven't heard of John McKissick, so I'm voting Stephen Davis, allow us to give you the 4-1-1 on John McKissick. Okay? Please do. He was born in Greenwood, South Carolina. Okay? He passed away November 28th, 2019 in Somerville, South Carolina. Now, Somerville is not, I understand Somerville is not the Upstate of South Carolina, but Greenwood is. He was born here, grew up here. John McKissick was a head football coach of Somerville High School in Somerville, South Carolina. In 2012, he became the first American football coach in history, high school, college, or professional, to win 600 career games. His 600th win came against Somerville's Ashley Ridge High School. Up until 2013, he had never missed a game in 62 years and was the longest-serving high school football coach of all time. He led Somerville to 10 state championships with 621 wins. McKissick holds the record for most wins by a football coach at any level. Graduated from Kingstree Senior High School in Kingstree, South Carolina, then went to Presbyterian College for 2 years before being drafted into the Army. He coached all three of his grandsons, was elected to the National High School Football Hall of Fame in 1990. And I'll tell you what, he's been featured in books, in films. He was born and from right here in the upstate of South Carolina, the all-time winningest coach in your favorite sports at any level. John McKissick hails from Greenwood, South Carolina, right here in the upstate. He takes on the 5-seed Stephen Davis, who is perhaps most well known for getting the tar beaten out of him by Michael Westbrook of the Washington Redskins at the time. They got into a nasty training camp fight in which Michael Westbrook used his black belt jiu-jitsu to rearrange Stephen Davis. But Stephen Davis is from Spartanburg, South Carolina, attended Spartanburg High School, excelled in football and track. At the 1991 South Carolina meet, he set a state record in the 100 meters at 10.40 seconds. That record stood for 17 years. He was regarded as the #1 recruit in the nation in 1992 before attending Auburn University. Stephen Davis had 4 1,000-yard seasons in the NFL. And in those 4 1,000-yard seasons, he had over 1,300 yards rushing in all of them. Finished his career with 8,052 yards rushing, 4.1 yards a carry. Played for Washington, Carolina, and the St. Louis Rams before he hung them up. Has been considered for the NFL Hall of Fame, but is not expected to make the NFL Hall of Fame. A 3-time Pro Bowler, Stephen Davis, going up against John McKissick. Now, I would consider John McKissick a favorite to win this whole thing, except for the fact that he was born in the upstate, had early years in the upstate, and left the upstate. Coached in South Carolina, elsewhere in South Carolina, but didn't coach here in the upstate. But he 100% meets the criteria for the poll. Born here, grew up here, played high school sports here, etc. He meets a lot of that criteria. So there you go, folks. It's John McKissick, only coach in football history to win over 600 games against Stephen Davis. Let's get your votes in.
Well, we got Melinda Fowler, big fan of the show. We appreciate Melinda Fowler's throwing sand on John McKissick already. Says he isn't upstate. Too many great upstate coaches overlooked to include him. Melinda, he's from Greenwood. He played his college ball at PC. That is upstate. That's upstate.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Greenwood is the upstate, Melinda. He is the upstate. If you want to put your vote in, Melinda, for Stephen Davis, you can, right? You can. You have that right. But John McKissick's birth certificate says Greenwood, South Carolina.
She says you should have put Louis Golden or Paula Kirkland. Nobody nominated them, Melinda. Nobody nominated those coaches. The rules are very strict.
Yeah, Melinda.
If you're not nominated, you're not going in.
Where were you, Melinda, on the multiple nomination days that we had? Where were you? Every single person that was nominated multiple times is in the field. Okay? Every single person. For those that were nominated only once, we divvied them up and we looked around and none of the people you mentioned, Melinda, were nominated. So don't come to us after the fact and say, where is this person? We said it at the time. We said, look, we're having nomination days today. Don't come to us after the fact and say, where is this person? Where is that person? We're not going to listen to that. Okay? So, Stephen Davis, John McKissick. What do you guys say if you are hearing this right now? We need you to get your votes in 71307 on the text line. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show. Diesel, who gets your vote?
If you're telling me it's between the winningest coach of all time at any level of sport and Jesus, I would give it to the winningest coach of all time. Like there's no denying what this man has accomplished as a coach, and he served our country. John McKissick all the way.
Absolutely. I'm going John McKissick as well. Look, I'm not from here originally, folks. Hopefully I'm doing good work here in the upstate, okay? I'd love to be the upstate's favorite all-time radio show host. I'd love it. Voter says McKissick. Texter says Stephen Davis. Back in the day, kids were talking about him like he was mythical in schools he didn't even go to. Texter says McKissick is the truth. Get out of here, Melinda. He influenced thousands of young men's lives now in the Low Country. We love Melinda here on Offsides, but in this particular instance, John McKissick belongs in the bracket. Texter says McKissick, period. So says Wolverine Joe. Another texter says McKissick. Well, you're not allowed to vote twice now, texter. I see the same number coming in. Another texter says McKissick gets the vote. John McKissick, Stephen Davis, all-time winningest coach in football history, any level. Coming up next, would this recruiting pitch work on you? That's next here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. Offsides, Mark, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. So we are the Fan Upstate. Good to have you guys with us here on a Friday episode of the show.
You look like you just got hit in the shin with a hurl.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, whoops. Sorry.
Odie is acting like he missed the landing on that comeback or on that rejoin. That is the story of my life. Odie. So do not feel bad. Okay, the number of perfect shows that I've ever had in my life, Odie, is the same number as this camera ring. Okay, so there you go. All right, so I heard this and I thought it was fascinating. And every once in a while, guys, I come across something that I just want to share with you. You know, like it's just I want to bring you into discussions that are going on in my home, right? So it's just kind of what we do, right? Kind of what we do. So anyway, this is a recruiting pitch. Okay, it is a recruiting pitch, and it's from John Calipari. Now, this recruiting pitch was filmed for Emmanuel Quickly. Okay, Emmanuel Quickly was a recruit that John Calipari wanted a few years ago, and he went down to sit down inside the Quickly's home, and they filmed John Calipari speaking to them. Why did Calipari allow that? Well, the Quickleys were doing a documentary about their recruiting process. He was one of the most highly regarded kids in the country, and Calipari allowed them to film his pitch to them. All right? So what I want to do is I want to share this pitch with you. I want to ask if this would work for you, if this would work on you. And I say this, Diesel, realizing and acknowledging that there is one particular line in this pitch that is going to piss off about 80% of the people listening right now, which I find, frankly, kind of hilarious. So without further ado, listen for that line. Tell me how mad it makes you, and then tell me whether you are signing on to play for Coach John Calipari at Kentucky.
The stuff we talked, and I'm just hitting it real quick. Lifetime scholarship. Our kids go to class. Lifetime scholarship means you finish the term before you leave, so you're academically in good standing, and then you come back whenever you want. The kids that I'm recruiting, most of them have a 4 to 5 year window. Your academic window's 50 years. Your basketball window's 4 to 5 years. Now you may say, well, what's 4 to 5 years mean? Doesn't mean you have to leave after a year. You may. Maybe what you do. I've had guys leave after a year, 2 or 3. But within that window, you got to do your college thing, get drafted, and establish who you are, because this first contract, it's the second one. And that's why my guys are going to that league and get the second contract. And it's all the stuff that guys can't argue. And I'm just, one last thing. These guys, my staff, all get mad when people are negative or say stuff or make up stories or Donald Trump us, just lie, okay? I'm like, what do you want them to do?
Be nice.
If it's facts, they lose. If it's the truth, they lose. They know with what's happened for our kids and how I coach and what's happened for their kids and how they coach, they can't beat us. And that's why I tell them, you guys are getting all nutty and crazy. Well, I don't care what they say. Because at the end of the day, this should be a business decision for you. And you guys as a family should be like, okay, what kind of coach do we want him to play for? What do we want that coach to stand for?
First starts just working on your game every day. You mean like individually though?
Everything. How are you going to elevate to be your best version of you? How are we going to do this?
I guess working on your weaknesses, which you're not good at, and trying to develop it into a strength.
Okay, so let's just talk. I'm going to say this in a general sense. Okay, you pick a school and they tell you you're the face of the team. You're going to be the centerpiece. You're the guy. We're letting you do all this, and then you start practicing, and you're by far the best player. So now you play 30 games. 20 of those games are against bad teams. Just how it is. The other 10 are against good teams. And of those 10, they got 8 players that can compete with you at the level you play. So that means 8 times a year, you're really in a competitive environment for you personally. Unless you come with me, now you're going to be there 200 days because every practice, I'm going to have other guys going to be 6, 7 guys just like you. And every day you're going to have to come and bring it. Now that's how our guys get better. when you say, how did your team get better? Yeah, we coach them up. We do individual work. We challenge them. We get them to fight. But together, they just make each other better.
The words of one Coach Calipari. He said, did you catch that in the middle of that? He goes, I could just Donald Trump you and lie to you. He dropped that in the middle of that spiel, which cracked me up, man. And I thought he did pretty well, honestly. I think he scores points where he says, when people tell the facts, they lose. So if they recruit to you on facts, they're not going to beat us. And then, how do you overcome Diesel? Let's say, I don't know, a Clemson and Appalachian State recruiting against Kentucky. What's the pitch going to be if you're Appalachian State trying to get that kid? Come here, take us to places we haven't been. We're going to, our program is going to be in your image. You're going to be the face of the program, et cetera. And John Calipari says, okay, but do you have dreams to make the NBA? At App State or at Clemson, you're going to play 10 good teams a year that might have 8 good players that are at your level. You come to Kentucky, you got 200 days of that because you're going up against those guys every single day in practice.
It's a reverse psychology tactic to say, I've got 10 guys just like you. But those 10 guys are going to make you the best version of yourself you can be.
Yeah.
Because you're going to face those 10 guys every single day.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. How do you get better? You get better by competing against the best. You get to do that at Kentucky. I thought the Trump line, regardless of what side you're on the political fence, I thought was funny. Put in a sense of humor in that. How did he know that was going to land well? How did he know that was going to work?
I wonder what kind of birds the family has, because they've clearly got parrots on the back porch.
Yeah, they did that as well. And I don't know. I was listening to that and I was like, man, that's a pretty solid pitch. What did you guys think?
That's a risk. It's a risky thing to say.
Yeah, would you sign on to Coach Cal if that was the recruiting pitch made to you? Checking up on the Upstate's favorite athlete bracket, John McKissick against Stephen Davis. Votes coming in for John McKissick. See, this is what burns my brownies. In the platform where we don't get to explain anything to them, Stephen Davis is in the early going is running away with it against John McKissick. So if you want John McKissick, you guys got to flood the text line right now to overcome what is going on Twitter.
Or you also have to go vote on Twitter.
Go vote on Twitter. Help us out there. Vote
theoretically,
on Facebook.
you got 3 votes. Once on each platform.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Let's see here. I just didn't know if my vote would come in the way I said get out of here, Melinda. It's all love anyways. Michigan J. Todd chimes in. He says, Mark, John McKissick is my vote. Texter says, Mark, give me Stephen Davis. He took a new franchise to their first Super Bowl and inspired a whole generation of Panther fans, including me. So says UNC Chris. UNC Chris, vote for whomever you like, sir. Okay? We asked Brent Beaird a question earlier today based on your fandom as UNC Chris. Always looking out for you. However, realize you are voting Stephen Davis over the all-time winningest coach in the sport of football at any level. The only one ever to win 600 games anywhere. Realize that. Let's see here. Texter says, I like the pitch, but those 2 birds annoyed me. Was on a red-eye flight this week, and a lady carried on 2 birds in a carrier. Oh, gosh. Oh, man.
That's a jerk thing to do.
See, if it was just 3 little birds, it would have been a great tune.
What's worse?
2 birds was not.
What's worse, being next to a woman who brings a bird on a plane, or having someone in your office who microwaves fish and broccoli on a regular basis?
Oh.
Those people know exactly what they're doing.
By the way, Diesel,
I would say you people, because that is a you people worthy thing to do. You people who microwave fish in the company microwave, you people suck.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just got an idea for my Can We Stop for next week. It just hit me. We have got the top 5 at 5. It's coming your way next. Right here in the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. And we My party people, this is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the fan upstate. Happy top 5 at 5 to you. You see the beautiful office behind me starting to fill in. South Carolina, tip of the cap, top of the morning to you. Sending us their Gamecock flag. Still waiting. We're told one is coming from Clemson. Right over yonder. Okay, so there's a spot for the Clemson flag as well. Studio filling in very, 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 very nicely. Mark Ryan, Diesel, Odie here with you today. Rolling on until 7 p.m., folks. There are so many media choices out there. We truly do appreciate you making us part of your afternoon, part of your day in, day out. It means the absolute world to us. And in turn, we hope to give you the very best sports talk show you can find anywhere. Okay, that is our goal, day in and day out. It is time for us to do that jam. We call it the top 5 at 5, the top 5 biggest sports stories of the day, the top 5 topics we're discussing. Ladies and gentlemen of the upstates, Offsiders, the top 5 at 5 starts right now. Hit. That was guilty of some premature smaculation there, Odie. There you go. By the way, Diesel.
You don't normally launch early, do you?
Maybe he does. Maybe he does.
JD in the text line said,
premature
hit it.
smaculation. There you go. By the way, Tracy Bevel. Tracy, good to hear from you here on the show.
Have you met Tracy?
I have not.
I would assume, and I could be wrong here. Tracy, are you related to Billy Bevel?
No,
Billy Bevel, who is a longtime listener and sometime contributor to the show.
Tracy says that it's supposed to be a favorite bracket, not the most successful bracket. Well, Tracy, that is right. It is the Upstate's favorite athlete bracket. If it was the Upstate's best athlete, we would disallow obvious votes. Right? We would disallow them. You can vote for whoever you want, and the votes 100% count in this bracket, right? 100% they count. That said, on a show where we debate and talk and dispute, don't expect us not to share our feelings with you. We're absolutely going to share our feelings with you. Okay, I'm going to give you my feelings about who should win each matchup. It is the Upstate's favorite athlete bracket. If you got 4,000 votes for Steven Davis, he can win, right? He can win the whole darn thing potentially. All right. But in the end, your votes and how you feel is what matters, right? That's what matters. Today's matchup is in the Upstate's favorite athlete bracket, John McKissick, born in Greenwood, the all-time winningest football coach at any level ever. Coached for Somerville High School from 1952 to 2014, 66 years of outright excellence.
Most people don't live 66 years. This is America. Our life expectancy is going down.
We had that conversation earlier today. Yeah, we did. So John McKissick, man, all-time winningest coach, died at the age of 93 on November 28th, 2019, against Steven Davis, a worthy adversary in his own right. 4 1,000-yard seasons in his career, a 3-time Pro Bowler, Spartanburg High School, played at Spartanburg High School, had a cup of coffee with the Carolina Panthers, most of his damage done with the Washington Redskins in the National Football League. Isn't it interesting how, overnight, it's like you're saying one of George Carlin's dirty words when you say Washington Redskins now.
But we have to say Redskins because it is specific to the era of the team. From now on, you got to say Washington Commanders if you're talking about, athletes doing big things now, and that's fine. But the guys that were playing for Washington in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, they were not Commanders.
No, I know. Diesel, I agree with you. I'm just saying that if you and I were doing this hit on national TV, they would tell us not to use that word. And it's just odd to me how, overnight, you're no longer allowed to say the word even historically anymore, right? Next up. All right, folks, we are asking you guys a very serious question here. Who is more of an upstate team, the Atlanta Braves or the Carolina Panthers? Now, Diesel has voted Atlanta Braves. I am voting Carolina Panthers. Why? Well, because to me, Carolina's included us in their name. Carolina has their training camp here. Carolina needs us to be successful. I have a hard time, folks, rooting. Honestly, maybe you guys never think about stuff like this, but I do. I got a hard time rooting for teams that could care less if I'm rooting for them, right? I have a hard time. The Braves don't need you. The Braves don't extend an olive branch to you. Hell, Diesel, I mean, tell the audience, remind the audience of what happened with the Braves here.
Well, the Atlanta Braves had their AA affiliate in Greenville. They decided they wanted a brand new stadium for the baseball team, and they wanted the city to pay for it. The city, predictably, said, "Hell no, we won't pay," and they took their team somewhere else.
And so when the Braves did not get what they wanted, they pieced out and they left, and the area lost their AA Greenville Braves.
But the Panthers tried to do something very similar. They tried to take the team and the preseason workouts away from the upstate. Is that not also saying, upstate, we don't care about you anymore? We don't really need you anymore. We're going to move this to our flashy new facility that's a little closer to our home base. Isn't that the exact same thing?
It does kind of feel that way.
Yeah.
But they were still going to have that in South Carolina, technically. Rock Hill, South Carolina.
Charlotte, stop.
Well, I mean, technically, right? Technically still South Carolina. That was the effort. That's what they were going to do.
Lasers.
Here. Yeah. But the reality is, folks, my vote is Carolina. My vote is the Carolina Panthers. We put it to you guys. Who is more of an upstate team? Is it the Atlanta Braves or is it the Carolina Panthers? We value your input. I especially value if you make a case for why the Braves or the Carolina Panthers qualify as more of an upstate team. We've done research in the past. About 40% of you consider the Carolina Panthers to be your favorite team. We estimate that maybe 70% of you consider the Braves your favorite team. So is this a popularity contest or, is it deeper than that? You guys tell us. Next up, at number 3, this was interesting to me. So we are coming out with the top 10 high school athletes in the upstate. The top 10 high school athletes in the upstate right now, heading into the 2023 season. Okay, top 10 athletes. And every single day, we are revealing one, the top 10 football players, high school-wise, in the upstate of South Carolina. Number 10 is Mike McClellan from JL Man, DB and wide receiver. We highlighted Mike McClellan. We congratulated him on Twitter. Number 9 is Cutter Woods, quarterback of Westside High. Number 8 is Avery McFadden, wide receiver from Hillcrest High. Also offers from Coastal Carolina, James Madison, and Georgia State. And I'll tell you what, number 7 is Jalen McGill from Broome High School. A 5'10", 190-pound running back, was a freshman this last year, had over 1,000 yards rushing, over 20 touchdowns. Virginia Tech, as a freshman, has offered him already, was named an All-American, freshman All-American by Max Preps. How about Jalen McGill? If you're interested in seeing how that top 10 unfolds, we asked Rob Jones, one of our high school football guys here at the Fan Upstate, to put this top 10 list together for us. We're revealing one every single weekday on the Fan Upstate. Number 6 is coming your way on Monday. How about that? Very, very cool stuff coming your way online at the Fan Upstate as well. Next up. All right, at number 2 on the show today, we played a pitch from Coach Cal John Calipari to a recruit, and we asked if this would in fact work for you. Now, Odie, if you don't mind, we can lower the volume of the top 5 at 5. We can get that clip ready to go, and we can reset that for you. Now, I'm wondering if you guys can overlook the Trump joke that he makes. All right, overlook the Trump joke. Does this recruiting pitch work on you? If you are a 4 or a 5-star basketball player, this is actual footage from Coach Calipari being inside the home of a 4 or 5-star recruit. Does this pitch work on you?
The stuff we talked, and I'm just hitting it real quick. Lifetime scholarship. Our kids go to class. Lifetime scholarship means you finish the term before you leave, so you're academically in good standing, and then you come back whenever you want. The kids that I'm recruiting, most of them have a 4 to 5 year window. Your academic window's 50 years. Your basketball window's 4 to 5 years. Now, you may say, well, what's 4 to 5 years mean? Doesn't mean you have to leave after a year. You may. Maybe what you do. I've had guys leave after a year, 2 or 3. But within that window, you got to do your college thing, get drafted, and establish who you are, because this first contract, it's the second one. And that's why my guys are going to that league and get the second contract. And it's all the stuff that guys can't argue. And I'm just, one last thing. These guys, my staff, all get mad when people are negative or say stuff or make up stories or Donald Trump us, just lie, okay? I'm like, what do you want them to do?
Be nice.
If it's facts, they lose. If it's the truth, they lose. They know with what's happened for our kids and how I coach and what's happened for their kids and how they coach, they can't beat us. And that's why I tell them, you guys are getting all nutty and crazy. Well, I don't care what they say. Because at the end of the day, this should be a business decision for you. And you guys as a family should be like, okay, what kind of coach do we want him to play for? What do we want that coach to stand for?
First it starts just working on your game every day. You mean like individually though?
Everything. How are you going to elevate to be your best version of you? How are we going to do this?
I guess working on your weaknesses, what you're not good at, and trying to develop it into a strength.
Okay, so let's just talk. I'm going to say this in a general sense. Okay, you pick a school and they tell you you're the face of the team. You're going to be the centerpiece. You're the guy. We're letting you do all this, and then you start practicing, and you're by far the best player. So now you play 30 games. 20 of those games are against bad teams. Just how it is. The other 10 are against good teams. And of those 10, they got 8 players that can compete with you at the level you play. So that means 8 times a year, you're really in a competitive environment for you personally. Unless you come with me, now you're going to be there 200 days because every practice, I'm going to have other guys going to be 6, 7 guys just like you. And every day you're going to have to come and bring it. Now, that's how our guys get better. When you say, how did your team get better? Yeah, we coach them up. We do individual work. We challenge them. We get them to fight. But together, they just make each other better.
The words of Coach Cal. What do you think? Does that work on you? He goes, the other guys, our competition, just Donald Trumps you to death. They just lie to you. Interesting take. A lot of the points that he makes connected with me. The one that didn't was this. I disagree that your college choice should be a business decision. Look, I get it. I've never been an athlete that has had millions put in front of me or highly clamored over or anything like that, right? That's never been the case for me. But I still do believe that your college choice should be about a lot of different factors. What do you want to do for your living when basketball is done? He said you got a 4 to 5 year window. Go to a good school with what you want to do. Where do you feel the most at home? What school pulls at your heartstrings? You know, I think a college is a lifelong decision. I don't necessarily agree that a college should always be a business decision. Where do you guys come out on that? And finally, at number 1, my friends, in my opinion, this could very well go down as the single greatest athlete ever to play any sport. And he's doing this and he's living this in real time. And the issue is that baseball has fallen so far, right, that college baseball is not a nationally relevant sport, that Major League Baseball does not have one of the top 100 most famous athletes in the world. Now, I can illustrate that. If LeBron James walked down Woodruff Road that I'm looking at right now, everyone would know who he is. Literally everyone would know who he is. If Shohei Ohtani walked down the street, I'm willing to bet 9 out of 10 people would not. You know, what would I do if Shohei Ohtani walked by? I think I would say, what, is it just me, or did that guy look a little bit like Shohei Ohtani? I don't even know if I would know 100%. LeBron James would be obvious. Shohei Ohtani would be like, what was that? What? Huh? Maybe? What?
You say LeBron James would be obvious, but I personally wouldn't have a clue.
You wouldn't have a clue.
No,
LeBron James.
no.
Really?
Is he like really tall?
6'8"?
That might give it away a little bit.
Yeah, LeBron James. I mean, 6'8". Shohei Ohtani, I just don't know. Like, I don't know how visible these baseball stars are today, quite honestly. In any case, Shohei Ohtani's doing this thing. If I were to say to you, scale of 1 to 10, what is Shohei Ohtani as a pitcher? What is he as a hitter? I think Shohei Ohtani is a 10-level hitter and an 8-level pitcher, scale of 1 to 10. And that's what makes him an unprecedentedly unheard of athlete. Here's what he did last night to get another dub.
Clobbered to left center field. Robert back at the track. Ohtani sets off some fireworks. It's a 2-run game.
You know, and the sad part is we seldom get to see him because he's on the West Coast. Their games begin at 7 p.m. West Coast time, 10 p.m. Eastern time. We seldom get to see him. We only know Shohei Ohtani from highlights, etc., right? But he really is. He's already going down as one of the greatest athletes ever. And he is a shoo-in for AL MVP, significantly more so than Ronald Acuna Jr., also the NL favorite for the Atlanta Braves. And those are today's top 5 at 5. Now it's your chance to chime in, which you can do at 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-FAN-FONE. That's 844-326-3663. The text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan and away you go. You can get to us on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. We would love to have you. On Facebook, please hit that like button at the Fan Upstate. On Twitter, the follow button at the Fan Upstate. And on YouTube, the subscribe button at the Fan Upstate. We would love to have you. Thank you so very, very much. Coming up next, had an unbelievable chance to sit down with the Upstate's own and new celebrity because he was drafted into the NBA, Jalen Slawson of the Furman Paladins, now the Sacramento Kings. He joined Offsides live from Sacramento yesterday as he prepares for the NBA Summer League. We'll share that hit with you next, right here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. Guys, we appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining us as you guys do each and every day, man. It's been fun. Seeing all these comments is great. Seeing the interaction is great. You know, I wrote my boss today. Hang on. I'm gonna share this with you guys because I write my boss every single week on Friday. I have an assignment. I'm supposed to give him, like, you know, what sort of I'm assistant program director here, so he wants to know what sort of things I'm working on. And here's what I said. I said, the YouTube channel has been a great assist for the show. I knew it would help, but oh boy, here we go. I've evidently pissed off somebody bad here. This is Odie. This is Odie. There you go. Say hi, Odie.
Hey, what's going on?
There you go. There you go. The YouTube channel has been a great assist for the show. I knew it would help, but the degree to which it has surprised even me. We're regularly getting hundreds of comments during the live show now. these comments, there are hundreds of comments daily. This creates a party atmosphere on Offsides, which Diesel and I love, and it carries over into calls, texts, and tweets as well. It's been a massive engagement week for the show, and YouTube has been a catalyst. That's you guys. Thank you so much, man. Let's keep it growing. Let's keep it going, and let's keep it growing. And if you would, please refer some folks to subscribe to us, man. We love you guys. Dan B., I will see you at the barbecue on Sunday. And programming notes, was asked a late call to the bullpen. I'll be on CBS Sports Radio tomorrow, 12 to 5. So if you guys want to check us out, it'll be right here. We'll see you guys then, all right?
By the way, Ayatollah, you're driving. What are you doing? What are you doing in the comment section? This is the goodies that Trent, Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla, just brought over, and I'm going to make you wait until Monday to see it, okay? This is a big reveal. This is a flag, a championship flag that was flying in Clemson's stadium. So this one's got provenance, okay? This is a big deal item. This is probably the coolest item we have in here, other than the hurl that came through that Odie brought today. So you guys are going to see this on the stream on Monday. I'm going to make you wait for the big reveal, okay?
Love you guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for watching.
See you later, guys.